We are taking you into the news right now with the Fox 45 news feed. It's 11 a.m. right now. Hurricane Ian is growing in strength. It is nearing a Category 5 storm as it is barreling towards Florida. We're going to take a look at the threat the Sunshine State is facing and what it means for us here at home. A shooting in Fells Point right near the waterfront where many of the area's bars are located. We've got new video from the scene. And growing concerns about young people and crime. The new report that is exposing some of the conditions inside Baltimore's juvenile jail. Fox 45 News Midday starts now.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News Midday.
Thanks for joining us for Fox 45 News Midday. I'm Patrice Sanders. We begin with the latest on Hurricane Ian. The storm now barreling closer to the Florida coast. The governor there warning it is now too late for people to try to evacuate. Those who stayed behind are now left to just ride things out.
We got to board up the windows still and try and cover up these windows, the door. We still have to sandbag our door after we put some spray foam to keep the water out.
Well, the hurricane is set to be the first major hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. this year, and for the first time in more than 100 years. Tampa could get a direct hit. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is tracking the very latest on this storm. Jasmine?
They said that the eye wall is starting to move onshore near Cape Coral. So max sustained winds 155 miles per hour. It remains a Category 4 hurricane. That's likely what we'll see once it does make landfall. And notice, though, we are keeping track of those outer bands as well. That's leading to some heavy rain. Really, just all of South Florida looking at those impacts. Here's a look at some of the wind gusts that we've been seeing. A lot of them closer to that eye are between 50-60 miles per hour. We've had some lower wind gusts a little bit farther away toward the other side of Florida. But overall, we're keeping watch on the system. Storm surge is going to be a huge threat. Some areas looking at 12 to 18 feet. Not only that, but inland flooding will be another concern. We're talking 15 to 20 inches of rain across parts of Florida. Then later on, potentially some rain here from Ian. I'll time things out and let you know what we could see coming up in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. Happening right now in a city in crisis. Baltimore police are investigating a shooting in Fells Point. As Shannon Lilly shows us, video from the Citizens app shows paramedics attending to at least one person.
Police now tell us 2 women were shot. One of those women was shot in the head. Now, at this point, police say both of those women are still alive, but the woman who was shot in the head is in critical condition. And take a look just behind me is the location where we saw restaurant workers pouring water on the ground. They said they were trying to clean up the crime scene earlier this morning. This is the busy area right next to the Broadway Market, right in the square, where you'll see lots of people walking around, businesses and bars. We want to get you to a look at this video from the Citizen app overnight, though, showing a swarm of people and police surrounding someone on the ground who's being attended to. And our teams were also on the scene as well after police arrived to capture this footage of the scene. You can see that intersection of Alisana and Broadway was blocked off with crime scene tape. Now, police tell us that they got here just after 1 a.m. and when they did, that's when they found that unidentified woman suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. And they also found a 35-year-old woman with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound to her arm. Both victims were taken to local hospitals, but the victim shot in the head is currently in critical condition, as I mentioned. Detectives are now working to pull video footage from the area, and they're trying to identify the suspect or suspects. But this isn't the first shooting that we've seen in Fells Point this year. In fact, take a look at this. Police report there have been 6 shootings just so far this year, and that is not including this morning's shooting. So far, 2 people have been killed, including a Fells Point bouncer, Marco Nunez, back in April, and Little Italy restaurant manager Chesley Patterson back in January. Arrests were made in both of those cases. Back to this morning's shooting, though, police have not released any information about those victims right now and their identities. We are working to learn more. In the meantime, though, they're asking anyone with information to call the Metro Crime Stoppers. Reporting in Fells Point, I'm Shannon Lilly, Fox 45 News.
As crime continues, we are seeing more high-profile crime among juveniles. Last week, police say a group of juveniles tried to rob a Barks employee at gunpoint. And earlier this month, a 17-year-old was charged with murder for a shooting that left a Mervo High School student dead. All this has people questioning Maryland's juvenile justice system. As Olivia Dance shows us, it comes as a scathing report of Baltimore's juvenile jail reveals dangerous and chaotic conditions. Olivia.
That report describes horrible conditions right here inside Baltimore's Juvenile Justice Center, and it says that understaffing has led to dangerous situations. Now, the quarterly report was released by the Attorney General's office, and it details that fights and assaults are up 85%. It also cites broken locks, unkept cells with graffiti on the walls, and a shortage of recreational and educational opportunities.
I have a number of clients that are in the various facilities, and I speak to them about what they're doing, and they're saying we don't do anything.
The report shows that the population at the maximum security lockup has soared 74% from just 1 year ago. The report writes that the facility continues to operate like a prison-like environment where staff failed to maintain stability and young people are exposed to a dangerous and chaotic environment. Kenji Scott chaired Maryland's Juvenile Justice Coalition 15 years ago and blames lawmakers for failing to hold anyone accountable for the deteriorating conditions.
What he and she knows is that they can get away with broken locks and understaffing and poor care for children because it has not just started. This isn't an issue that popped up yesterday morning. This is a thing that's been going on for a decade and a half now.
Administrators here at the facility say that broken locks have now been repaired, staff have been retrained, and questionable food has been thrown out. But staffing, however, still remains a big concern. For now, reporting in Baltimore, I'm Olivia Dance, Fox 45 News, Midday.
11:06, and here's a look at today's top trending stories. Trending number one, with hurricane season well underway, the Maryland Department of Emergency Management is encouraging everyone to set up a disaster kit and a family plan. We can show you how to do that on our website, foxbaltimore.com. Trending number two, a Morgan State University student is in custody after police say he shot and killed a campus security guard last month. Charging documents show 21-year-old Chase Marco Wilson is charged with the murder of 19-year-old Julian Frew. If convicted, Wilson faces life in prison. Trending number three, today the Baltimore City Council will hold a hearing on public safety. They are going to hear from the police department and other agencies on the city's crime fight. Download the Fox 45 News app for up-to-the-minute traffic conditions, breaking news, weather anytime. Search WBFF in your app store. If you haven't had any coffee this morning, you may want to pour yourself a cup. Coming up, how a new study says coffee could be linked to longer life expectancy. But first, one man is suing the Biden administration to block it from forgiving student loan debt, and he has debt. Why he says he doesn't want it paid off, and how the White House is responding. And we are continuing to track Hurricane Ian as millions are told to evacuate. We'll see what those choosing to stay behind and hunker down are looking at. 11:08 is the time.
Fox 45 News, winner of 17 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
After an action-packed double unmasking in the season premiere, the fun continues with a brand new episode of The Masked Singer tonight. Just 20 singers remain, and tonight, 2 more will be cut. Now, The Masked Singer airs Wednesday nights at 8 right here on Fox 45. 11:10 and taking a look at your social stream now as Hurricane Ian moves closer to Florida. Nearly 2.5 million Floridians were told to evacuate, though the governor says it is too late now to try to get out. The storm is just too close at this point. Now, those who are staying behind are busy trying to prepare their homes. Long lines Tuesday show people getting sandbags. That storm is expected to hit Venice, Florida, and it could bring life-threatening storm surges and just massive flooding. This is what you're saying about it. I'm on the west coast of Florida near Tampa, and we are riding it out. We've got water, a generator, portable AC unit, flashlights, candles, snacks, sandbags, and hurricane shutters are going up tonight. Pray for us. Another person saying whenever a hurricane is threatening Florida, the main supermarket starts baking hurricane cakes, which is kind of odd, but also kind of funny. And you can see the hurricanes there. It says, go away. Well, a new lawsuit is calling President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan an abuse of executive power. Frank Garrison argues that because of the debt forgiveness, he will be forced to pay state taxes on the amount canceled, an expense that he would otherwise avoid. Tuesday, the White House pushed back, saying people don't have to accept loan forgiveness and they can keep their debt if they choose. Here's what others are saying about that. Nobody put a gun to anyone's head and made them take out a student loan. It was your choice. I hope this lawsuit succeeds. It is not the taxpayer's burden. Another person saying it won't amount to anything, but hey, at least the lawyer can say he tried. President Biden is proposing changes to food packaging. The goal is to help Americans make informed decisions about the foods they're eating. Under the proposal, food labels would be on the front of packages, not the back. The Biden administration is also proposing all food and drinks have a warning denoting their salt, fat, and sugar content. Here's what you're saying about that. How about just making access to healthy foods cheaper? In many cases, it's cheaper to purchase canned, boxed, and other pre-prepared high-sodium fat, carbs. Yet so much produce ends up in dumpsters because trashing a bruised apple is cheaper than donating it. Someone else saying, when we can see how much undesirable stuff is in food, then we can choose foods that don't have it, using market forces to drive manufacturing trends. Educating people on how to read labels would also help. Still ahead, a perfect score. We're going to hear from the Indiana high school student who just became the first person in the world to get a perfect score on his AP Calc exam. But first, how remote work could be to blame for the housing crisis, the reason the Fed is connecting the two. And coming up at noon, it's Karamo. Then at 1, it's Sherry, followed by Hot Bench at 2. 11:13 now on Fox 45 News Midday. You are taking a live look out of Naples, Florida, as the conditions there continue to deteriorate darker. You see the rough waters coming in. All of this is in advance of Hurricane Ian barreling towards Florida. And that is the big story for today. Florida bracing for impact as Hurricane Ian is inching closer. Millions have been told to evacuate as that storm is already causing power outages in Florida. Airports are closing. Disney World is closed today and says it will be closed again tomorrow. And another big sign of just how big this storm is, Waffle House has closed 11 stores. The diner, a commonly known indicator of how bad a storm is. 11:15 now. Instagram is making changes. It is testing out a new home feed that features a more sleek design. The site is testing out home feeds that do not have the shopping tab. The tab has been removed to another menu. Instagram launched the shopping feature to allow users to make purchases on its platform. Rental car company Hertz is teaming up with BP to create a network of electric vehicle charging stations. BP has previously said it wanted to have 100,000 chargers globally by the end of the decade. Hertz says it hopes 25% of its rental fleet will be EVs by 2025. Making headlines, Facebook's parent company Meta says it's shut down 2 separate networks of fake accounts that were created as part of a campaign to influence. According to Meta, the networks of fake accounts were being run out of Russia and China. A surge in home prices could be due in part to the rise in people working from home during the pandemic. Research by the Federal Reserve finds home prices increased by 24% from November of 2019 to November of 2021. The Fed says remote workers were able to move to different cities with less expensive housing options or more appealing amenities. The Fed also adds that as working remotely becomes more permanent, it could increase future housing costs and inflation. You can get Fox 45 News in a flash through your Amazon Alexa or Echo. We now deliver your local headlines and forecasts in less than 2 minutes. If you have an Amazon device, tell it to enable Fox 45 Baltimore. We're turning back now to the latest on Hurricane Ian. We are just hours away from that storm making landfall in Florida. Now, before it hits later today, residents in Tampa Bay are preparing for the worst. We have team coverage of the storm. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is tracking its path. But we begin with Megan Gillen, who is in Florida, where the last-minute preparations are underway. Megan.
The wind, the rain certainly picking up as the sun comes up here today. We're just outside Tampa General Hospital, where over the last 24 hours, we watched as crews actually bolted down these giant shields here, trying to protect the patients and the staff inside from what could be a very dangerous storm surge. We're looking at potentially 6 feet. That's a strong storm surge, better than the 12 feet that was originally forecasted. But why 6 feet is even more concerning is because this hospital, guys, is waterfront property here. Obviously, as those rising water levels continue to pick up speed here, there is concern, anticipation for what Hurricane Ian could bring. It's been a rush to the finish line for many residents here, boarding up homes and businesses, hoping for the best, but bracing for the worst, like this family business owner.
We are using storm shutters that we purchased after Irma. We are protecting all our assets, bagging things up, closing all the doors.
Well, you always prepare for the big one, hope for a little one. So we're hoping it's a little one, but we're well prepared.
We caught up with those 2 guys, Todd and Tom, yesterday at a gas station that was out of gas. Mandatory evacuation orders are in effect for most of this area in flood zones primarily. Back here at the hospital, no evacuations have been made, but again, preparing for the worst with the shields here. And we've been talking to a lot of folks over the last 24 hours here, many saying they haven't seen those shields go up since 2004 when Charlie ripped through this area. And interestingly, Charlie was expected to just slam Tampa Bay, ended up going just south. Seems to be what Ian is looking to do as well, or at least what many people here are hoping Hurricane Ian does. Now in the final hours before landfall and starting to feel that wind and rain. In Tampa Bay, I'm Megan Gillen.
Very interesting point that Megan brought up, and that's the comparison to Charlie. We've been seeing that a lot. I do want to note one of the differences is the massive size of Ian compared to Charlie. This is just a bigger system. The eye alone is bigger than Charlie's eye, but not only that, the extent of the winds is felt at a larger distance. So again, this is a much more powerful storm than what we had with Ian, and it's also slower. That's another factor leading to some of the damage that's already coming in across parts of Florida. And right now, it's moving with max sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. Wind gusts around 190. Now, the storm surge is going to be a huge factor between Inglewood and Bonito Beach. 12 to 18 feet of storm surge and some higher numbers, still high numbers as we look a little bit farther south. Not only that, but heavy rain will be another factor, 15 to 20 inches north of Orlando. Then Orlando, Tampa, both looking at 10 to 15 inches of rain, and this is over the next 5 days. So as that system continues to track onshore, that eye currently moving onshore toward Cape Coral, we'll have those higher rain totals continue to build up. 63 for the current temperature, and we're gradually getting warmer. Plenty of sunshine outside. Winds are out of the west-northwest around 10 miles per hour. Pretty quiet across the state. Temperatures mainly in the 50s and 60s. Numbers are now starting to rise, but we're talking below average numbers heading into the afternoon. We'll have clouds gradually increase, and we're looking at more clouds by the evening. Still, we stay nice and dry today and tomorrow. We'll wake up to lots of sunshine, and we'll keep those sunny conditions throughout the day. Then as we make our way into Friday, we are looking at more clouds starting to move in, and these clouds are actually associated with Ian. You can start to see a little bit of that rain. This is from our in-house model. That again is from Ian. So we're mainly looking at Saturday and Sunday when we have that chance for rain. If you are heading to the Ravens game, you will want the rain gear. After that, a few showers are possible on Monday. Finally, we dry out as we head into Tuesday. Today looks to be another gorgeous fall day, though high temperatures around 71. Then as we make our way into the rest of the week, 72 on Thursday, 71 and dry on Friday with more clouds. Then we have the rain on Saturday and on Sunday. After that, our temperatures stay in the low 70s on Monday. We're back to the mid 70s as we head into the rest of the week. Back to you.
Thank you, Jasmine. An Indiana high schooler is making history. He's the first person in the world to earn a perfect score on the AP Calculus exam. We're going to hear from him and his teacher ahead. But first, we could be looking at a Christmas tree shortage this year. How the problem is being traced back to something that happened 13 years ago. And a big night tonight at 8. It's an all-new Masked Singer. Then at 9, it's Lego Masters. And before your day's top news and headlines come on at Fox 45 News at 10, and then the late edition at 11. 11:22 now on Fox 45 News Midday. 11:25, don't miss this. It may only be September, but Christmas will be here before you know it. And for those who celebrate, finding a tree may be more difficult this year. Farmers are reporting a shortage of trees, and it turns out the reason may be because of something that happened in 2009. When the 2009 recession hit, demand for trees dropped and fewer trees were planted.
And now that's caught up, we don't have enough trees to supply demand. There's a cycle definitely on trees like any produce, so unfortunately this is going to be like a 10-year cycle on each one of these. Every year we grow, but I think that we might get a little bit better.
Christmas is just 88 days away. All time now for your lunch break, and it appears someone was eating their Wheaties at breakfast. An Indiana high schooler is making history as the first person ever to get a perfect score on the AP calculus exam. And while Felix Zhang, who is only a junior, was shocked to hear the news, his teacher was not.
Felix did everything. I mean, all the credit should go to Felix and the hard work he does. I'm just glad I can be his teacher and sort of guide him through and help him along and to reach his full potential.
I wanted to do well on it, and I prepared a lot, but I never actually thought about getting a perfect score before.
Well, look at that. The test Felix aced has 45 multiple choice and 6 free response questions. Students had 3 hours and 15 minutes to finish the exam. Well, that's all we have for Fox 45 News Midday. Be More Lifestyle is coming up. Mark Clark is here to tell us what they're working on. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Patrice. What makes a man come off as creepy? One dating coach says she's got it all figured out. We'll tell you all about it coming up next on Be More Lifestyle.